Well, guys, welcome to another tutorial on my channel. Remember the like, hit, subscribe, and all that good stuff. But today we are going to overthrow the if statement trend that everyone does. And, there's a couple ifs and this and that. But when you get to long statements, then people want to do switches and else ifs. And I'm like, well, that's an okay method, but what about something else? Is there a better way than using a whole bunch of ifs? And the answer is yes, there is kind of a way where you can cut out a lot of if statements, but it requires a little bit of finessing. Now, today, what we're going to look at is kind of like a finite state machine or a choice matter. Now, in our Light Slow to Unity project, okay, we have this MPC script right here, okay, and then you see this array. Well, this array has scripts in it. Well, if you notice, this array has a script for NPC waypoints, NPC waypoints, seeker, and killing. Basically, it's all these scripts in a single array, and I call it state behaviors. Well, the state behaviors is a class and everything, but the important factor that we are running into is we are using inheritance to cut out a lot of if statements. And you're like, well, how do I do that? How do I use this to make better decisions for myself? And that's a good question. Very, very good question. So we're going to go up to our code screen that for some reason never wants to work for me right off the bat. I always got to reset it. It's kind of, okay, wrong window. Come on. Virtual Studio. Boom! Yes! And we have a class. Well, okay. So you see this seeker class. Yeah, it's got a class. It'll do this, and this usually is what people do. Kind of. They'll do a, but it's going from NPC base, which usually has our mono behavior, which it's fine and everything. I mean, mono behaviors, there's nothing wrong with it. It's what everything else. But I want something a little bit more refined code-wise for this. So we're going to go back to NPC base. Okay? And we're going to look at this NPC class. NPC class is a more normal mono. We have a private NPC index. And this is a enum. Okay? And if you're not familiar with enums, they're basically an array, but kind of using words instead of numbers. Okay? So, we have a property that returns our value and sets our value. Well, we have this right here. Well, what this is a function call. This is not an auto property like you're used to. And an auto property is if you're in something like this. This is an auto property, okay? Which is okay for some stuff, but I don't use a lot of auto properties, okay? And it's not a problem or anything, but then we have this setup. Let's get to this. Setup is a private function called setup behaviors, and what I'm doing is state behaviors, and I have an array right here. This is an array, and then I go behaviors, and I'm parsing it out to an integer. And behaviors, if you didn't know, is our enum, right? And remember what I said? It's nothing but an array, just using words and stuff, kind of fancy. Well, I'm parsing it out to an integer, making sure that it's not using the string base, but the actual integer of what we need. And then I go on update, okay, which is an update feature. I mean, on update, it's pretty self-explanatory for that. Well, in our setup, we do OnStart. So to go over this, every single time this is set, it runs this OnStart, which initially will go to every class that we have and run our start. Okay, so everything, when we set it to, it'll set the index, and then it will do this. So we're just basically going, hey, this is what's in my 5th slot or 4th slot or 3rd slot in the array, and we're calling a function called onStart. Nothing fancy there. Well, the really cool thing about this is we got this MPC base array, which is called state behaviors. Well, our base class, all it has is this. It's a mono, and it has 2 virtual functions, okay? And what this virtual will let us do is in here, we can override functionality as we need it. Call it here, call it there. It's not that bad, okay? But when we're in here, and the reason why we have them virtual like that is when we go up to here and we go dot update on start, well, because it's MPC base class, we cannot do anything else with it. So if we go into trying to do functions and stuff like that, it's not going to work. It's not going to let us. That's why we put the virtual in there. Our base class, the functions that's in here, let me embiggen this, will only allow us to call these functions right here that are public. And we could probably not put them virtual or nothing, but you know, it doesn't show up, and then it makes it kind of like its own little class. It just doesn't work as we intend. So we have this, we have our behaviors. Well, this gives us the opportunity to use our enum as the index, right? So when this is like 1 or 3 or 4, well, whatever's in that slot in the array will do the behavior that we want. So what this means in a nutshell is this right here is throwing the update and the start in there, but only one of these behaviors is running at a time. So this makes it very easy to go, hey, do I want an NPC that just goes straight after the player, like balls to the walls, goes, yeah, and tries to kill him? Well, we can do that. We don't even have to do, we can go, hey, we don't want a waypoint, so we don't put it in the index. We don't want a seeker, so we don't put it in there. We just go to our killing script, and he just goes over there and starts, you know, blowing him up. Maybe you want a script thing where, hey, I'm about to die, okay? And what you would do is you'd copy all this stuff, okay? And just let me go over here and just call this death, okay? And I'm going to open this in Virtual Studio because, well, you don't need to see me actually make a script. I mean, come on, that's kind of ridiculous, right? Nobody needs to see me make a script. Well, not in that kind of fashion. And we just paste in here, and we got our virtuals and everything else, and we can go in here and go, hey, guess what? Our whatever function we have, we can come up here. And this is part of the this class right here. These variables don't go across. So you'll go, well, what do I do? We're gonna have a nav mesh agent, okay, and we're going to go agent dot set destination, and we'll just go right to our target dot game object dot transform dot position, and boom, there you go. Every single frame he will go right to where his target is. That's if the script is running, okay? If the script is not running, then he doesn't do this. So let's say you like go in here, if target equals null, then we do this. Because he died and all that stuff, but you know, whatever. We just do get component npc dot set state equals dot waypoint, because he's dead. We don't need him, he's dead and all that stuff. So he's actually just croaked out. Well, we do need a little function here that's called right here. Okay. And what this does is it will broadcast lock target in target dot game object, okay, and it will send the target. Well, no, actually no, we don't need this. We don't need this one. We don't need this one. Which one do we actually need? Oh, yeah. Here it is. We need the what? Oh, I didn't put that back. OnStart. This is a function. The waypoint, we need which one of these? It's seeker. Oh yeah, it's right here. We need lock target. Okay. And what lock target does and everything is it will set our target. Okay. Because if any one of these scripts that has that right there, our waypoint, if we ever intersect a player, it will send the information, the game object, to every single class in that game object. So every one of these classes, our target will be filled out for us. And then you could do in our single thing right here, all these checks like if target is greater than blah blah blah, you know, and this makes it very modular. I mean, it does. I'm not gonna lie. And you know, this death thing right here, you can put no distance checks whatsoever, and be like, well, since there's no distance checks and things like that, then you know you don't have to run that, and this update will only run when our NPC state says it's this right here. This controls which gets updated. So it makes it very easy, because this index right here is an integer and we're just doing update based on the integer. When we call this function right here, get component NPC set state, we're passing the integer that we need. Okay, so the value will go 1, 2, 3, and we'll be changing the states based on our enum. So we don't have to worry about any real problematic things. And I put this leave state right here on this one, is because I want to get rid of the onTrigger enter message. When this is disabled like this, we can get this to disable itself. So we don't get any more onTrigger enter calls or anything. But I have to remember on the start, we turn this back to true. Okay? So, and, well, look. If we wanted to do this now with all these other things, we would have to do we have how many states? 1, 2, 3, 4. Basically 4 states. Now, traditionally, what other people would do is this. If state behavior equals, or what's it called again? Behavior. If behavior equals dot killing, do this. Else, if behavior equals dot seeker. Yeah, I think you guys are seeing what my point is. Else, if behavior equals NPC thingy and waypoint, do this. Okay. And begin this, and this right here does all those checks. Okay. So I'm like, wait a minute, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? Else if, when we could just do this nice clean integer base array, and we don't have to do any stupid stuff. And then, oh, guess what? Because we did this, we have to go, hey, guess what? Our other classes have to be mono behaviors, which means this needs an update, and and we need references. Like up here, we have to put references as in public waypoints. Okay, and we have to do another public seeking, and then another public dev die, and then we're in here, we got to do waypoints dot. Oh yeah, we got to change that in order to get on update or start. And look at this. This right here, messy. It works, for a couple, but when you start doing that, and then you're like, well, you could do a switch statement. Well, guess what? Switch. Okay, default switches have cases. What are we doing this on? And we're doing this on behavior. We're doing this on behaviors. And then you'll have a break, right? Default. Then you'll have case waypoint, okay, and you'll have another, and then you'll have a break, and this switch statement is alright, but the problem is this is another if statement. It's another if statement, and another thing, it's hard coded in. So if I want to add this state, I've got to come in here and go case NPC. It's all hard coded and stuff. That sucks. It sucks. When the other system right here that we can delete this, bye bye, gone. And we have all that stuff. Well, guess what? This right here that we had before, I don't have to touch none of this script. None of it whatsoever. All I have to do is go name a script, put NPC base on, and write a couple virtuals for a start and update, and that's it. That is it. Then I do all my variables and everything just like a regular mono behavior, like public void this, private void that, and it comes very versatile. So this def method right here, instead of doing all those cases and hard coding it, let's go back into Unity. Okay, let it compile. Oh, I've got a unexpected symbol, which is probably something that I just added by accident. Okay, and that's unexpected die. Okay, we don't need that crap. Sometimes it's just like I don't save like right off the bat for everything. Okay, it wasn't nothing. Probably just didn't save. So in here we've got this. Well, guess what? Because this is a script like this, all I gotta do is put this script in here, def, and then go, hey, guess what? I've got a for statement. And go up here and add it. That's it. That is how easy you can do as to add a state. And def can have its own logic on can trigger, enter, exit, and everything else. This becomes very powerful by itself. You don't have to do any of this other junk. And I call it junk because I don't want all these if statements, because then my CPU has got to sit here and check all that stuff. Don't want it. Don't want it. Don't need it. Don't care about it. I would much rather use my CPU power to check one script instead of 5 of them, or have one great big old monster NPC script. Oh my gosh, it could have 1,000 if statements. I'd rather have 1,000 things in an array that it can just like go through like right off the bat. You know, it's very quick. So this is how I'm going to overthrow the if statements in a lot of scripts, from my player stuff to my NPCs to weapon behaviors. This can work for a lot of things. This can even work for a UI system. Very powerful, very easy to write. I mean, look, I have basically nothing in the script. Nothing in this script, this script, this script. My biggest script is the NPC one, which just has a property that sets stuff every single time. Every time I set the property, it runs my start function in my array of stuff. So every time I set the property, which if I go into debug mode, see this behavior thing that's right here on the waypoint? Yeah, let's point it to screen. That really helps the viewers. Come on now. Every single time this changes, this behavior variable changes, it will go in here and go, hey, is this the first element? Then hit start. If this is the second element, hit start. and it will only do this every single one time when this behavior has been set, but it'll only do it to a single one. It won't go through all of them. It doesn't loop or nothing. It just sets it to one specific index. The only bad thing about this system versus maybe other stuff is this waypoint thing has to be the first in here. So whatever you put for your enum, you have to put it in the specific order that you've written it. And what do I mean by that is simple. Okay, take my enum right here, waypoint, seeker, killing. Now my next state will probably be death, right? Equals 3. Okay. And that's how that is the only thing that I really have to change is the enum itself. Which, in all honesty, I can put an integer in there, but visually it would kind of suck because, well, you know, I'm like, well, it would visually kind of stink because I don't have a way to like see it. You know, I want it to be pretty in the inspector, okay? And that's the only reason that I use that. I mean, you could use an integer just fine, but visually I want it to do something different, okay? That is the only reason I use that. And I will make this a serialized property thing so I don't have to do that dumb stuff, and we can see it, but it stays private. So right here, this is the only thing that I change. That when I add states, I have to do that. But it's not that big of a deal versus going in there and doing a switch statement. You got to add all that logic in there for a switch statement or anything else. I mean, really, I'd much rather change one enum to add a state like that than anything else. And like I said, that's really easy. But I can get rid of this enum. I can put this an integer and never have to touch it again. But you know, visually it's kind of nice to see what kind of enum it's parsing it out to be. And you know, first, second, third, fourth behaviors, first, second, third, fourth. You know, and I just do it that way. But like I said, you can change it to an integer, but I want it to be pretty. So this is my my overthrow of if statements. If you like this video, hit like, subscribe, share. You know, do your YouTube stuff. If you you know, like to help out on Patreon or donate in some form, more power to you. But I will see you because you know, hey, I probably saved you like a big old headache on if statements in the long run. So you know, whatever. And this can work for a lot of things. I mean, it's very, very easy to use and very easy to write. I mean, if in the comments section, if you guys want these specific scripts, you know, just let me know. I'll hook up a you know, a Google Drive or something like that so you guys can download it. But it's just going to be the scripts itself, not like any project or anything. And it's just going to be these 5 scripts. Well, 6 now. It was 5. But yeah, just let me know and I'll hook you up if you didn't understand it or whatnot. You know, the comment section. I mean, I don't see a reason why you wouldn't understand it. I mean, base is a monoscript just with virtuals, like so. Okay, and you just target the base. Okay, and write your functionality like you normally would, but the update and start is different, so there's that. And the waypoints are pretty easy to understand too. I mean, you just got your overriding the start and update and then doing that stuff. And yeah, basically all these are pretty much monoscripts besides you're inheriting from NPC space. So it's not going to be difficult to write, but let me know. That's what comments are for and stuff like that. But take care, guys, and thank you very much for watching. But this is War, and he is out and about. Thank you, thank you, thank you.